Hi everyone, my name's Charlie and I am really good at PIP. I've only ever lost one case in 6 years, and that is every aspect of PIP for all different types of conditions. Now, this video, you've been very clear that this is what you want. If you're watching this, you're probably going through the PIP process. So let's say that you've done your claim form, you've done the assessment, and you are shocked and disappointed at the points because they don't match what you said in your assessment. Now, I say to everyone, or I did before I learned how much difference it makes when you record the initial assessment. Most of the time that my clients record it, or people record it, they don't then need to do an appeal because they treat you more fairly. It's wrong, shouldn't happen that way. It does. If the points have come back and they don't match what you thought they were going to be, you just need to appeal it. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It is easy. This is the easiest part of the PIP process. Everyone should appeal it. That's my opinion. Obviously, you do what you think is right for you. This is your life, your claim. Let's talk a bit about rumours. A lot of people bottle it and don't want to appeal because they're worried the points could be taken away from them. And that's true. Points can be taken away from you. I've personally never experienced that. I've only experienced an increase in points. Don't forget, the whole PIP process, everything they do is a strategy. Everything is to put you off. Like, you think about it, how the process you have to go through. Then you have to do like a 28-page document. Then you get a 44-page document. Then you get a delay. There's delay. It goes on for ages. Then you get questioned by a stranger that you've got to try and persuade that you're actually sick and your life is impacted. And then that stranger is going to ask you trick questions to try and get you out of the points. Then they're going to write, not the truth. Not the truth. I've only seen fact-based notes after recordings. Okay. Most of us give up. Most people give up because you feel like maybe they're right. You know, none of us want to claim this. None of us, thought, do you know what I want to be when I grow up? I want to be really sick and I want to have to depend on benefits or funding. None of us want this. So when we get treated like that, most people give up. People that are dyslexic don't stand a chance with the forms. People with OCD can't even touch the forms. Most of us are in pain or fatigue or depression, so we haven't got the energy to do all this. Everything's a strategy. So trust me when I say appeal. Appeal. It's easy. You are entitled to this. Fight for it. Okay. I'm going to move on from that. I think I've made it clear. Right. Steps to take. Don't even bother reading what they wrote. Just don't bother. Don't read it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want you to send me photos of it. And when I am working with clients and they go, but Charlie said this, they said this, I'm not interested. I'm not interested because it's never right. I'm not interested. Don't waste your time on it. Doesn't matter. Move forward. Now, a lot of people will spend weeks going through what they said, what I said, what they said. I ain't got time for that. I don't have the energy for that. And it doesn't get you points. It's all about the points. It doesn't get you points. Just because they lied doesn't mean that they're going to go, oh, clearly you do struggle with going to the toilet. Here you are, we have 6 points. It's not going to get you points. So move on from it. Just accept it's part of the strategy to try and keep costs down because the government's skint. Just move forward from it. That's it. Done. Save yourself days to weeks of stress. Next step, focus on yourself. All I want is you to focus on yourself. Or if you're helping someone else, we're just going to focus on that person. We're going to focus on the person that is chronically ill that needs some funding. That's it. That's who we're focusing on. Not interested in PIP, not interested in what he said, she said, not interested in all the horror stories online, not interested in the social media sites where most of the information is wrong, not interested in it. Just cut all the shit, focus on the important stuff. There is a basic template that I use when doing appeals. There is what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to do right now is the links in the description. It's really basic. It's just in Word because all this is like writing a letter. Sorry, my mum, this is a DIY haircut. I cut my hair, I thought it looked all right. My mum saw something on TV, decided to cut my hair, had me tip my head upside down, held the hair in a certain way, cut it, and now I've got a fringe. Didn't actually want a fringe, but I'm just not used to it because it keeps getting in my way and then it's hurting my shoulders because I keep having to lift my arms. So if I'm itching my face a bit, it's because I've got a mum haircut and it's a bit irritating. I am grateful. It's one of these days. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Hang on, let me take some painkillers. Oh, can you imagine if you're watching this and you've seen some of my videos before, you'll be used to me talking like this. But if someone's new and they're like, does she really know what she's talking about? I do. I honestly do. I'm really good at PIP. I think everything that's happened in my life has made me good for this. It was all meant to happen for this. Okay, so this is my template. This is what I use when I'm working with people. So I might write them some notes, which will be in pink. If it's, actually, I'm going to take that out. And then yellow is for them to do. So for example, I would highlight these bits yellow for them to fill out. Now, don't forget, they get hundreds of thousands of these constantly. And please don't forget that people take in 10% of written word. 10%. We've got to cut the crap. We have to be blunt. So when I work with people, I never quite know what the intro will be because it depends on their situation. And most of the time that I work with people, whatever points they gave themselves, when I ask them Charlie questions, not PIP questions, Charlie questions, we find out that, oh, I didn't realise that counted. I didn't realise that I did that because it's their norm. We find out a lot of things. So sometimes I'll give you some options. And to be honest, I'll probably save this document. I'll save this down the bottom in the description so that you can just get access to this. Okay, just an important thing. Please remember, whatever wording I give you, you've got to use your own wording. Write like you speak. I don't care how you speak, but you've got to use words you would normally use. So if I'm using a word like avoid, I avoid mixing with people face to face, but you would never use the word avoid. You'd say, I don't do it. Use that expression because we can't all of you can't use this document in the exact wording I've done because it will hinder your appeal, because I am being monitored. We know I'm being monitored by DWP, but to be honest, I don't give a fuck because I shouldn't exist. You should not be having to watch this. You should not be having to watch or even book someone like me to help you get funding you are legally entitled to. So my goal is, over the next however long it takes me, get it to the point where you don't have to pay for help. The process has got to be easier. And the government shouldn't be targeting vulnerable people, I don't think. Let's move on. Did I get across the point that I wanted to get across? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so we've got to use different wording. You can't just submit exactly what I've written or it'll risk screwing up your claim, okay? You've got to word it for your situation. This is to give you ideas, okay? Just a bit worried about that because there's so many people watching the videos. You've got to mix it up, okay? So when I say mix it up, I mean you're unique. Your situation is unique. How you feel about pain is not going to be how the other person watching this is going to feel about pain. How pain impacts me is going to be different to how it impacts you. You've got to write about your individual self, using write the way you speak and make it extremely personal to you. Don't forget, PIP scars us. Scars us. SCAR. Are you safe? Are you consistent and reliable? Keep working that in your head. Write that down. You should have notes. When you're watching this video, you should have notes, okay? Print the points off. I like it when everyone prints the points off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write this as if it was someone that was embarrassed, wasn't comfortable discussing this with a stranger, that it wasn't actually the PIP assessor's fault because they weren't totally blunt about how they feel. So that's the type of intro that I'm going to do for this. And I've used this a few times for people that weren't really honest about being incontinent, that weren't really honest about being actively suicidal. This does happen where I meet people and then when we discuss it and I go through the Charlie questions and obviously I bond with people and they're open with me and I'm like, did you explain that to PIP? And they're like, well, no, they just moved on, or however they feel about it. Sometimes it is they don't get a chance or they don't feel comfortable with that person. So I tend to do a fluffy intro because you've got to remember, whoever reads this, they weren't involved in your assessment. It's not their fault. The system sucks. I just write nicely because you've got to think how many of these letters they get where people are kicking off and focusing on the discrepancies. had to take some painkillers, didn't I? That's it. That's the intro. Actually, I'll do another one. That one's a nice, fluffy, I'm not sure if I was clear enough. So let's do another one. Again, don't just copy this. You've got to match it to your situation. So in this one, I'm saying that I wasn't comfortable with the assessor, but I'm also not totally blaming the assessor because it is embarrassing discussing this, especially if you feel like someone doesn't care or someone's pushing you to answer questions. It's not easy to go, I wet myself. Like, it's not easy to have that conversation. So I think to that, we're not blaming the assessor. We're going 50-50 on this one. We've got maybe I wasn't clear enough to the assessor. That's the nice fluffy one. Because again, don't forget, these people, they probably don't even know the assessor. I'm going to put in a blunter one because I know that some of you are going to want a harsher version. I am very sorry because it's not this person's fault. I know this is not your fault, because please remember, the people doing this, it's not their fault. To get results in this, we don't have to tear people down. We don't have to get angry about it. We just have to communicate clearly. I know it's shit and frustrating and you're probably really angry and I'm really sorry. But this is the approach that I take. Okay, just on here, every piece of paper you send to them, make sure it's got your NI number on. So to change that in Word, you go review. No, you don't. You go insert, footer, edit footer, and then update with your number. Then you just simply close the footer and it's done. Nice and easy. So we're gonna, let's fluffy, 50-50, and then we've done grumpy. Now you can write what you want, but I hope you understand from this, this is it. 2 paragraphs. That's all your intro needs to be. Just going to keep it at those 3. So that's the intro done. I do this blue for the sections so they can clearly see it on this document. Again, we want it to be nice and clear. Then we're on to daily living. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and cover as many different situations in each of the categories. Preparing food. Let's look at the points. They are linked in the description. You need a copy of these points and make notes on them. That's all you need. Get rid of all the other crap that you've got, apart from what points you were issued. Oh, crap. Before we get on to each of the categories, so preparing food and all those bits, I want you to get the 2 pieces of paper that have your points on. So this bit of paper where it says what you got the points for. You need to figure out what you want to appeal. For example, I talk about this in other videos, but if you were raised in the UK and you don't have dyslexia, forget about communication, forget about reading. If you can explain your name and in your assessment they say, how did you get here today, or how are you today, and you can answer the question, you're not going to get these points really. So don't bother with those. Go for where you can actually get the points. On these points, I'm hoping that I'm not covering E and F. On these points, don't forget, if you use an aid, like you have to sit down and you are able to use a microwave, but you also need prompting, that's not 6 points. They will just give you the highest points. So if you had to sit here, 2 points, but you also needed supervision, 4 points, they would just give you 4 points. Ideally, pause this video, go through the points and figure out where is the big areas for you. Where do you score a lot of points that weren't given? What points were you given? How much do you need to get to wherever you think you are, whether it's standard or enhanced? In this one, what we're going to pretend is that the person got 0 points, but actually they have to sit down to cook and they can only do it using a microwave. That's what we're going to appeal, that they were given 0 points and they have to do these things. I am not able to prepare meals. Sorry, I wanted to do this example for OCD, so I'm just going to do 2 examples, but I'm not in all the others, just 1 example, right? So this is example equals pain stroke fatigue. Not able to prepare meals due to my Do you see how clear I'm being? I am not able to prepare meals due to my condition. Why? Because it's really painful. Well, how do you do it? I have to sit on a chair when I use the microwave. What sort of meals could you do in the microwave? I am not able to chop food. Why? Because when I put any pressure downwards, I get an electric shock pain in the left side of my back. Now, we don't need to say degenerative disc disease again because we said that at the beginning of the paragraph. But the way I just worded that then, I thought that was actually really helpful, wasn't it? Because that's just how I do it. Right, okay, so let me think. Don't fill out your form like 1, no. 2, back pain. 3, daughter does it. 4, can't think of anything. Don't write it like that, okay? This is to help you do your paragraphs here. So let me see if I can get us on, so we can see this on one screen. Actually, let me color code this. Will this help? I'm not going to do this for every question, okay, because I'm going to be here for weeks if I do that. So let me just make sure I'm recording this. If I'm not recording this, not that anyone's going to see it, I'm going to have a meltdown. Stay calm. So I was going to do this for OCD. Let's just check the points again. I've met a number of people with severe OCD that literally cannot prepare food because of the sheer amount of hand washing that it involves. I'm going to write this as if it's that extreme situation. So the beginning bit, can you do whatever we're talking about? I am not. I do. Block capitals is when you shout at someone. Don't forget, people take in 10% of what you say. So I am deliberately being really clear with that. You don't have to shout at them. Just in case you're wondering, yes, I've won cases for people with OCD. I know other people that have got OCD that get enhanced PIP due to the severity of it. And all of those people are getting treatment. And I truly hope that their life turns around because they would much rather be normal than have to be trapped in the OCD world and applying for this funding. So I've explained that because of the OCD, because here we've got my back pain is severe, but I'm explaining the severity of the OCD here. Oh shit, hang on, I don't know if you can see. Can you imagine? By the way, if you do have severe OCD, you can't touch a form to fill it out, can you? Look at the consultancy in the description below because there's a do it for you service. I started the service because very quickly when YouTube took off, but before YouTube took off, most of the people I helped it was pain conditions that result in pain and fatigue. So it's really easy for me because that's what I suffer from. Severe form of arthritis called psoriatic arthritis. There are other people with psoriatic arthritis that are able-bodied. I just have a very aggressive form. So it's easy for me because I understood how they felt. When YouTube took off, within the first week, I had a client with severe OCD. I had someone with quite severe dyslexia, and then quite a few clients with mental health. But with the OCD and the dyslexia, even though I understood it in a sense of I understand people with dyslexia might struggle to read or with numbers. I understand people with OCD might not want to touch things, lots of hand washing, things like that. But I didn't think about it from a PIP point of view of, hang on a minute, someone with OCD can't touch form. Someone with dyslexia, how the fuck are they going to fill out a 44-page form? It's intimidating for those of us that can read. I have a lot of clients that are professionals that are like, I have a degree, why am I struggling with this? Because PIP scars us. Scar. Are we safe, consistent, and reliable? It scars us. So I started the Do It For You service, and very quickly I realised that it's not just people with OCD or dyslexia, it's everyone, because this is so scarring and so stressful. It's just a relief to have someone else do it for you. So links in the description, but don't go. Please try and watch these guides and do it free, okay? I've only got limited places. There are a lot of people that need help, so try and do it for free. Everyone, this is Matilda. This is my mum's dog. She's the size of a cat. I'm going to say mother. Sometimes you won't be able to come up with like, what are they going to say for an alternative answer? Let's check the points. So they're going to be like, we've already ruled out that we can't use an aid or the microwave or anything like that, or it's no good if you prompt me because I can't touch it because of my OCD. Supervision. So I think they'll be like, well, if you had assistance, would you be able to do something? You don't always have to have this, but I do try and get this in there. Actually, do you know what? No, I'm going to leave it out on this, because you know on the claim form where you put what help do you need, that's that. But this one I'm going to leave it out. What's the alternative? When it comes to pain and fatigue, they'll always try and the perch chair and things like that. But severe OCD, it's just not an option. So I'm going to leave that. When it comes to evidence, I know if you've watched my other videos, I don't like it. People send in so much crap that's not relevant, and it just makes it harder for PIP to figure out your situation. When it comes to appeals and reviews, I actually like to put photographic evidence in when it's relevant. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean. So this was evidence that I actually used for a tribunal, codenamed Team Sleepers. So what we did was, for as many areas as possible, we put photographic evidence in. What's important is you make sure that this is your home, so they can see that this is your home, this is the reality of your life. I have a really good video about photographic evidence. I think I called it Maximising Your PIP Claim. We'll put a link here and put a picture of what it looks like. Okay, definitely watch that. It is. I don't think I've done justice. I don't think it's getting enough views, because it's amazing. It's so helpful. It's a really good guide. So definitely watch that. Taking nutrition, which basically means eating. Right? This is just eating. A lot of people get confused on this and they start talking about preparing food and things like that. It's just eating. Just eating. That's it. That's it. Do you think I've had to say this before? It's just eating. In this example, I'm going to talk about fatigue. Oh, actually, just quickly, there's not many of you that are going to be in this situation, but I just want to cover off feeding tubes. So there's therapeutic source feeding tube, 2 points, but you get 6 points if you have to have assistance with it. I'm just going to show you this. So this is from Codename Compliance in Africa. Hi! Hi! I hope you're both okay. Brilliant photos. They did amazing. Amazing. I'm not going to write the feeding tube one, because I think that one's pretty obvious. You know, I can't eat. I have a feeding tube. My husband, here's a picture of the feeding tube. Here's a picture of the food that I had. My husband has to assist me with it. And then you saw those photos. Yeah. So we're going to now do it based on fatigue. Do you know what? I didn't realize until I was literally recording this how strategic I am with these questions. Like I am very process orientated. Like I like to have a procedure. I like to know where I stand. That tends to be why I get on so well with people with ADHD, with autism, because they just say it how it is. You know, to be honest, you know, I just like to know where I stand. I think that's why I'm very transparent and blunt with you. You know, just it's much easier. It makes life much easier. So I just naturally did this. Taking nutrition. When it comes to fatigue, it's basically the food. You don't use a knife and fork because you're too exhausted. I don't use a knife and fork, and if I do, it's a rare occasion, and only because my mum's come up with some meal that I don't know. We're not a family of cooks. I just don't. I use a spoon or a fork, preferably hands. I'm going to explain. Needs assistance to be cut up. No, needs chunky cutlery, but needs prompting. Pretty much all of us with pain and fatigue, we don't eat that well, or we comfort eat. You know, look at this. Wait a minute, let's go full camera. Look at the double chin. Look at it. Oh, I was trying to shake the chin, but all that happened was my boobs bounced. Quite an old bra on. Like this is cheesecake genetics, because even when I was fit, before I was chronically ill, it's still here. But this is a lot of takeaways. This is cheesecake. This is Jaffa cakes. You know, a lot of us eat crap because it's easier to eat than a meal. Big shout out to all you fellow double chin people. Oh, I think I'm losing the plot. I think I should probably stop, but I'm just going to carry on. Try and stay on track. Try and stay on track. Right. Wait a minute. I'm just going to have to make a note because I'm definitely not all right. So we're doing chunky cutlery, prompting. Don't forget what I said about the points. It's not 6 points. It will be 4 points. They take the highest points. So I'm just going straight in with the points. I have to use So let's have a look at the points and see where PIP will try and deduct. I can eat. I don't have a feeding tube, so that's those out. I do need prompting, so it's not really a way out. Oh, hang on a minute. Yes, there is. Yes, there is a way out for PIP. They always do it. If you depend on someone for something, they will always say, if that person wasn't there, say they were ill or they had to work, whatever they come up with, how would you manage? That's how they'll try and say to you, well, how would you do it? So if my mum wasn't nagging me, I simply wouldn't eat. But that's not true. If my mum wasn't here nagging me, I would probably only eat a meal 3 or 4 days a week. That's what I was before she was here. Now it's more, but honestly, I'm just tired of it. It's a lot of work to eat. I know I don't look sick. I'm aware of that, and the trolls are very confused. I know I don't look sick, but come on, it's 2024, people. Understand what an invisible illness is. So we're going to preempt. Okay, that's true. She's moved up here because I was declining and she's declined. She was just worried because my body can shut down at any time and I get like an hour's notice, but if I'm declining, my body can shut down and I can sleep for 4 to 36 hours, 4 to 36 hours. And last time it happened, I was sleeping 22 hours, awake for 2 to 4 hours, 22 hours, and that went on for months. And she's just worried if it happens and she's not here. By the way, this always changes that I have to I must, and I actually quite like that. I must. Okay. I've really hurt my double chin when I grabbed it earlier. It's really sore. Later on tonight, I'll be like, I don't understand my jaw joints. My pain's increased, but they'll be much worse. My ribs will be worse because I've been laughing, talking to you. And I'll be like, why is this hurting? And I'll forget because I've got brain fog. So that's going to, I know I'm going to be confused at like 2 in the morning when your pain goes up through the night, 2 in the morning, isolated, thinking I'm losing the plot of why the hell is my chin fat painful. Right, I have said, I'm actually going to do 2 examples on this. So I don't know, I was like, just do 1 example. But now that I'm talking to you, I feel like I need to do more examples. So I'm going to do 2 examples. I'm going to do a mental health example and I'm going to do a pain example. So mental health is about prompting. Now, I've got a really good guide on PIP and mental health, put a link above. So with washing and dressing, I tend to find that a lot of people really struggling with depression, like those of us with pain and fatigue, you're not washing and dressing. I always say washing and dressing, washing and bathing. I tend to find depression and pain and fatigue, we're all in the same category of we're not doing it a lot. We're just not. Okay. We don't have the energy, if you're depressed, the motivation or the ability to just get going, which is the same for us with pain and fatigue, isn't it? Different reasons, but same outcome. So let's write the depression first. Now I'm worried that I don't stick. Right, I'm just going to write it because I'm worried that I don't stick to that format, but I obviously do because it's in my head. Right. I think that's nice and clear. So let me just check the way I laid out the code in. Can you do it? If no, condition. How do you measure this currently? And the alternative, right. So I wash about once a week. Only. Right, so I'm going to change that to shower. Only shower because I've explained there shower. It got better as I was typing. Okay, shower about. I'm going to take out the about. Only shower once a week. Work out the average. On average, only shower on average. I'll put that in there to keep you on track. Average once a week. Just there's not really an alternative that PIP can do on this because if I think I smell, will have a quick under the arms and groin wash. They can't really counter this, but I am going to say I am physically able to get in stroke out the shower. Just just thinking of how to say it, but my depression like wears me down. My depression holds me back, prevents me from doing this. My depression absorbs my energy. Absorbs. Okay. Example 2. Right, so this one we're going to do pain. Okay. So we're going to go back to the points because it's going to be a bit different. Right, so this one is pain is about using an aid, which will be holding on to something to get into the shower or sitting on a chair in the shower. What about, I don't think I've talked about strokes. So let's actually forget pain, we'll do stroke. Okay, so someone that's had a stroke and their left side isn't cooperating. Okay, so we'll use that as the example in this one. So we're going to go, they need assistance to get in and out because of their left legs not working right. And they have to sit on a seat and have someone wash their hair because of their left side. Okay, their right side so they can wash under their arms between their legs. Not their back, but we're not worried about that. They won't get 7 points, they'll get 3. But you have to paint a picture. They have to understand the situation. We're doing shower as well, okay? Actually, if I put stroke. I'm not able to shower on my own. Very clear. My left side does not cooperate with me. Oh, hang on a minute. Due to my stroke. My daughter helps me get in the shower, lifts my left leg, and then I sit on a seat. I can wash my underarms and groin myself. So it is nice to clarify what we can do. It helps them understand. It helps them, you know, because they're trying to categorize us, yeah, which is reasonable. My daughter must wash my hair for me. I also have a handle I hold onto as well, so I'm scared of slipping. I think most of us are scared of slipping. It's really dangerous having a shower and a bath. So for the evidence, make sure you take photos if you're having to use a chair or it's the microwave, like the example I showed you, or any aids you're using. Again, photograph any evidence like the feed-in tubes, the equipment that goes with feed-in tube, any chunky cutlery. I've got a link in the description for the chunky cutlery that I use. If you suffer from pain and fatigue, it's amazing. It's an affiliate link, so I'll make a couple of pence off it, I think, which I haven't sorted, so I'm not sure how much. But just, you don't have to, you can click on the link and you don't have to order it. You can just see what the example, and then you can come off it and order whatever you want. So if you don't want the money to come to me, you don't have to. First example we're going to do is, right, well, let's just check the points first. Right, so anyone that gets medication, I say this in all the videos, I want you to have a pill pot. It's called a dosset, a pill pot. There is a link in the description below for a good one. I talk about this a lot. Some of them have got gaps, which means your meds go soft. Link in the description to a good one. All of us need that if we've got pill pots, even if someone else is helping us with our meds. What people screw up on this one, which is getting less now that I've got more videos on it, is this is about time. There's a misconception that managing therapy, people think it's time spent at hydrotherapy or time spent, I don't know, at a lung clinic or something. It's not. It's the time that you have support monitoring or assessing your condition, or basically nagging you for stuff, or someone helping you out. That's what it is. So let's look at the points. I'm sorry if you can't read this, the F bit, like, because my face is there. So I'm sorry, I've tried to put you in a position where I've got the least impact so you can see the points. So we've moved on from the pill pot, which is the one above, worth 1 point. We'll do depression first, right? So, for example, you suffer from severe depression, but you live on your own. If you have a friend that checks in with you every day and they're like, have you taken your meds? How are you feeling today? They're trying to identify, it depending on the severity of your condition, are you safe? How long does that take on average on a daily basis? Are they coming round to see you? Are they popping in for a cup of tea? Is it a phone call? Is it a message? How long is it taking? And then you work it out. So for example, you've got a friend that does it your mum checks in on you, your best friend checks in on you. You need to add those times together so you can break it down on the form and say, my mum does this every day or every other day. My friend does this on these days. My best friend does this. You break it down and work out the times. You'll be surprised this adds up. It really does add up. I think chronic illness impacts those around us, doesn't it? It's harsh. So you'd be surprised by how much this adds up. Now, if you have a carer, you simply say over 35, to get a carer, it's over 35 hours a week. Yeah. So just put, I have a carer, registered carer, they're with me over 35 hours a week. Keep it simple. Don't forget, if you put 5 to 10 minutes, PIP will take 5 minutes. I'm just trying to think of the severity that I want to put in on this, because I think I'm going to go for a milder version than severe chronic depression. Okay, so hopefully this will help more of you. This is my mild version. See, that would work for ADHD as well, for any of you with ADHD. Sorry, I'm going to do this as if you live on your own. Friend Groot. Baby Groot, if anyone watches the Guardians of the Galaxy. Going to do this on cystic fibrosis. Well, what I'm doing this on is basically physio, for people that need physio at home. So on this one, this works for, it doesn't matter obviously what the condition is. If you're having physio or you've got these things to do, and this, I'm not sure if you could read this because I had myself in the bottom left-hand corner instead of the top right. So just to clarify, this is what I've written for this. I'll just let you read it. Don't forget you got it in the template below. This works. Doesn't need to be cystic fibrosis. It works for whatever condition it is. And then for the evidence, I'm saying make sure you photograph your pill pot and show the background. And, these photos really help Pip figure out where we are. For this section, if you've got homeopathic stuff, if you've taken it upon yourself to do exercises, if they're not allocated by a physio or a doctor, that will be evidenced in your medical records, it's not going to count. If you're like, oh, I have to do yoga every day, that doesn't count. PIP aren't interested. That sun is a smidge bright, isn't it? Can you see my wrinkles? Oh, that's a good look. Okay. Yeah, basically fluffy stuff that we're taking upon ourselves doesn't count. Okay, it's got to be allocated to you by a medical professional. I think I've made my point there, haven't I? Like if you're in, like a lot of people when they're talking about medication, they'll be like, oh, Charlie, I have to put this tube of cream on. Don't care. Well, not that I don't care. If it works for you, great. But from a PIP point of view, it's not relevant. Oh God, how are we doing? Right, so pretty much if you're zero, you don't need help, great. And again, your claim could be that they gave you 2 points for prompting, but actually you're 4 points. So again, you just be clear. So in the examples on this one, because I'm hoping that by the time you're watching this, you're familiar with the points. You should be familiar with the points. Please be familiar with the points. I talk about them all the time. Everything to do with PIP is based on these points. If you've seen any of my videos, all I talk about is the points. It's not all I talk about. I watched one of my videos the other day and I started talking about cat hair. Right, yeah, so I don't know what I'm talking about, do I? Yeah, I haven't done a respiratory condition because I struggle to say the word. I haven't done a lung condition yet, so let's do that for, what are we doing? God, what are we doing? What are we doing? Pain's definitely going up. Let me take some more pain meds. When you take your, when you take your pain meds, and you wait like half an hour. Look at my poor pill pot. All the letters are rubbed off. I keep writing them on. I'm a little happy cow. When you take your pain meds and you think, oh, half an hour and hopefully it will kick in. But then time goes by and you're like, oh crap, it's not kicked in. And my jaw joint pains increase because I'm chatting to you. I want to get this done now. When I start recording, I don't like to stop because you get in the flow, like, and we're making progress. So what I tend to find with people with lung conditions is bending down really restricts their breathing. So in my mind, it's not someone that's using oxygen, because if you're at that point, any form of movement can make you puffed, can't it? So this is someone that, so we'll go COPD, bending down, they become really, really puffed. Now, there's a couple of options. So it could be that they have one of those like grabber things. Could be that they've got a sock aid, because we all know socks are evil when we're in pain and struggling. So it could be they've got a sock aid, or it could be that they need assistance. Actually, either way, it's 2 points. What about their upper body? Shall we do it? Let's do it. Let's just do it where it's the socks are evil. Okay. So 2 points. So this will be where they were given no points. Right? Pretty much given no points. Right, so just be really aware of what I've put here. So due to my COPD condition, I cannot bend forward. Why? Because I get really breathless. So how do you manage? Well, putting socks and shoes on is a problem. I normally just don't wear socks. So many people just don't bother wearing socks and slip on shoes. If I have to leave the house for an appointment, now this is really important. If I have to leave the house for an appointment, because don't forget, everything interlinks in this, it's our daily life. So if you put, when I leave the house, they might look at that if you're appealing the planning and following a journey or engaging with people face to face. So you've got to be really careful. I'll use a sock aid so I can get them on without bending. But then the question I had in my head was, okay, socks and shoes is a problem, but how do you put on trousers? Like, how do you put on your bottoms? So in this example, I was like, well, I just put a dress on over my head. Yeah. They could like use one of those gripper things to put trousers on. Some people do. I'll just put something on over my head. By the way, Matilda is so light. She is smaller than a cat. Now, you know, earlier I said about you want to make sure it's in your home and you can prove it. I do love it if we can get photos of the person using the aid. If really, obviously not you sat in the shower naked. No, hard no. We don't want to see it. I'm sure you look lovely. We don't want to see it. But something like a sock aid, yes. You don't even with that shower. Now I've said that shower thing. I don't even need to see you in the shower fully clothed. Like, you know what I mean? If it's a practical one that you can show it. She's shivering. It is not Christmas, right? It's not Christmas, but this is the warmest. I always thought people that put clothes on their dogs were dicks. To be honest, I'm so sorry if you do, but I've never known a dog get so cold. I've only had in the past collies and Labradors, but she shivers so much. God bless her. So this jumper, it's nice and baggy, but fitted enough that it's not a danger. It's thick. It covers her bum. It's absolutely perfect. So she's in the Christmas jumper a lot. Okay, what were we doing before? I got distracted by Matilda shivering. For the example on this one, I'm going to use autism. People that suffer from autism that are mainly non-verbal. So they might be able to express themselves in small amounts to their parents, but when it comes to speaking to other people, no. Now, hang on a minute. We're doing a mandatory reconsideration, aren't we? So let's not go for a 12. Let's go for, they were given 4 points. They're actually an 8. Okay, so they need support for basic verbal information. You know, and I've experienced this where to their parents they might be able to say yes, no, hungry, cold, but pretty limited. But with it as strangers, there's nothing, you know, no. So, and I know it's ridiculous that even with autism, with the reports that you get when it comes to autism, you'd think that they wouldn't be in the position where they get the wrong scoring system, but it happens. So I'm going to write this bit as if I'm the mum. No, Actually, I'm not going to get into it. Even whenever I write for mums, I get more angry with it. Like, I know it's all good and, fine and easy and saying don't get angry about stuff, just focus on yourself. But I have to rein myself in. That's it on that one. Oh, actually, hang on. No, I'm going to be even clearer. Let me just check it again. That's a basic of verbal. Right. So I'm really blunt on this one. How's that? I think that covers it, doesn't it? I have shouted. I am frustrated, even though it is not the individual that's going to read this. It's not their fault. It's not the fault of the people that work there. This is the way the system works. I do get frustrated, particularly with the autism, when there's such clear reports on it. Such clear reports that there should be no debate at all. When it comes to budgets, this is a difficult one to get. If you have a form of dyslexia where you really can't cope with numbers, you should be able to get this quite easily, but obviously you have to be diagnosed. For this one, I'm going to use dementia. Obviously, autism, you'd be able to get these points. So I'm going to say can't do budgeting decisions at all. So they'll probably end up giving 2 points. They'll probably try and do 2 points on this. So I'm going to write this like I'm the husband and my wife has dementia. I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? Like, you know, that even with autism, is sometimes they just literally don't understand what money is. But on this budgeting, it is a case of like, this is how I feel like they assess it. If you were given £5 and told, go and buy yourself lunch, would you be able to figure out what that £5 could get you? I didn't realise like quite how close Matilda was. Sorry if you've been looking up her nostrils. So many people say, oh yeah, but Charlie, because I'll be like, look, you're not going to get the points, and they'll be like, yeah, but Charlie, I've got in debt. So is most of the UK population. So do the able-bodied people. As human beings, I feel like the bulk of us are not good with money, and that isn't about chronic illness. That's just because we're pretty crap. Yet, don't wait. Just in case you're like, but Charlie, wait. Um, chronic illness is expensive. Living with chronic illness is expensive. It took me years to figure out what was going wrong with my money because I was in denial as well. I didn't understand. I was spending, when I was employed, until I became more housebound, I was spending about £5,000 or £6,000 a year. Oh, I think she's in a bed. £5,000 or £6,000 a year on hotels. I don't know if you know, but have you heard of New Look, the high street retailer? I used to run their UK transport operation until July 2023. But I just couldn't stay employed. I didn't have reasonable adjustments in place. I had excessively unreasonable adjustments in place. So, I would have to pay for extra transport. I would have to pay for hotels if I had to travel somewhere because I couldn't get home, but it wasn't far enough away for the company to pay for a hotel. In the end, I was really transparent. I came out of the closet as disabled, and then they were really supportive, and they would pay for hotels, or we would quite simply I would stay at home. So I've got into debt. Most of us have got into debt, especially when we're struggling with our mental health, because even those of us, statistically, 80% of us that have got chronic illness are going to suffer from depression and anxiety. Even those of us like me, where I work really hard not to suffer from depression, that I can control. I understand there's times where you can't control it, but I really put effort into my CBT to staying as positive as I can, to adapting and adjusting. All of us, I believe, have been in a position where we felt really down and we spend money we haven't got on something like this. I got this. It's warm, it's cozy, it makes me feel good. I got me and Lindy one each. I got the money for it. I don't have the money for it. Don't get me wrong, YouTube is starting to earn me some money and I'm going to do a video on it and be transparent. But I'm not in a position to afford this. I haven't even got a toilet. I shouldn't have brought it, but I was feeling a bit down. I spent the money. It's not going to get me points. It's not going to get us points. You have to be severe. There has to be a really clear reason as to why you cannot manage like £10. I can figure out if I've got a tenner, what can I get from that tenner for food? I can figure that out. Most of us can. Do you want to come back up? Are you happy? Oh, I'm sorry. thought I'd put her, oh God, thought I'd put her down, but she really likes it here. Okay. She loves being at height. I think, you know, little dog, she likes to be at height. So, okay, you can stay. No one minds if you're here. I think if she'd had a choice, she'd have been here for the whole thing. Okay, let's do toileting for this one. So we'll do simple again, that we did our thing, and we either got no points or we got 2 points for using an aid, like holding on to the sink to lift ourselves back up from the toilet. So I'm going to use IBS for this one, and you'll see the way I word it, like you know, you'll be able to adapt this for anything. And we're going to go, sorry, let me be clear about this. So the way the points work is I offer a service where I'll check your forms for you, whether it's a claim, a review, or a mandatory reconsideration. Links in the description to the consultancy. And I get a lot of people that get very frustrated because they suffer from incontinence, but PIP don't give them points. But if you look at the points, it doesn't matter, and it obviously matters to you, but it doesn't matter to PIP for the scoring system. If you suffer from incontinence, but you're able to change your clothes, clean yourself up yourself, but you wear pads, it's 2 points. Hey, shh. It's 2 points. You don't get more than 2 points if you suffer from incontinence. What are you looking at? There's a bird. There is a bird on the tree. Matilda, it's a bird. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're able to manage it yourself, which I'm pleased that you're able to manage it yourself, you don't get the points. You just don't get the points. So let's check the points again, so you can see what I mean. You see here, you need to use an aid, so that's like using a pad, right, or a pee bottle, whatever you've got. Needs supervision or prompting. Needs assistance to be able to manage the toilet needs if you get stuck on the toilet and someone has to help you stand up. And this incontinence bit is, if someone doesn't have to help you manage your clothes and clean you up, or help you get clean, you don't get those points. And the points are broken down for, say for example, you are incontinent due to urine, you don't get to the toilet in time and you leak or you flood, that's this one. Or if you get severe diarrhea, that's this one, 6 points. But if you get both bladder and bowel incontinence, it's 8 points. So there's lots of confusion here. And I feel bad, especially when people are so frustrated because they were honest about incontinence but can't understand why they didn't get the points. There's it really clear as to why you didn't get them? Hopefully this will help, because I don't want you wasting your time. I do think there's a chance that a few of you have watched this and sort of gone, well, I thought I was going to get points. Well, that's why I didn't get any. That'd be why you didn't get the points. So I don't want you to waste your time. If you're not entitled to the points, obviously don't appeal it. You know, we need to be honest about PIP, honest about our lives. But I think, I just wish that everyone understood the points before they went into the actual claim process. Okay, so we're doing IBS. Actually, we're not going to do IBS. We're not going to do IBS. IBS, I think, is, you know, quite clear that you can word it. We're going to do getting diarrhea due to medication. Okay. Okay, so we've got due to the medication, at least once a week, can't get to the toilet in time. Okay, I have really bad diarrhea, so we understand due to the meds. I wear, because then the question would be, why aren't you wearing pads? So I do wear pads because you leak. You know what it's like when you got diarrhea and fatigue and everything, you clean yourself, but then there might be a bit more and you're like, why? Or you think, oh, I need to go, and you're rushing and it started. Do leak, I call that leaking quite often. I can manage the leaks because that would be on the pad. So we can take the pad out, pop a new pad in. But when it's really bad and overflows in the pad onto my clothes, it's a nightmare, isn't it? Because you're trying to take your trousers down, get the pad down, get your pants down, but you're going, get onto the toilet. But if it's overflowed the pads, it's probably on the back of your legs, which means it's going to be on the toilet seat. Get there, you're exhausted already, and then you've got to try and get your clothes off without spreading it everywhere. It's a logistical nightmare. So I've been clear, I can get myself to the toilet on time, but it's very messy and I'm exhausted. Because this is obviously severe, like diarrhea is exhausting, isn't it? It's a lot of fluids we lose when you have diarrhea. My son helps me with this to remove the clothes and help me and then get clean. With this one, I always tend to put, you know, a reiteration that I find this really embarrassing so that they don't overly question on it. And I've never experienced a PIP person asking too many questions about this because no one wants to talk about it. For the evidence, if you were raised in the UK and you don't have dyslexia and you're able to read, like basic reading, you're not going to get any points. So it's sort of split in basic and complex. So basic, they're like road signs. Basic is like on your medication. If it says, sorry, Matilda, just doing something. Got Matilda's bum, like, because I'm so professional. All these YouTubers are worried about their background and lighting, and we've got Matilda's bum. It's very glamorous. Yeah, so that's basic. Like, for example, so I can't even remember if I said it, you know, on your pill pot where it says tablet to be taken twice daily with food. That's basic written information. Complex, I would describe as the PIP form. So sometimes when I'm doing this and we're trying to figure out where they sit and they go, Charlie, I can do basic, like words I know. So I'll go, how do you feel about the word supervise? And I basically looked at the PIP form and was coming up with words. How do you feel about the word overwhelmed? I don't even know what that means. I don't know that word. I'm like, okay. So that's how I sort of assess it. How do you feel about the word complex? Like some people, you know, don't know that word. So if you find the PIP form overwhelming, too much for you, and the questions you don't understand, or it's just too much writing, then use that as your example. In this one, I'm going to use dyslexia, and I'm going to big shout out to the elegant lady. I'm going to talk about people with dyslexia that can't read black text on white paper, because I didn't even know that. And there's a link to an aid where you can get the colour paper to go over it so you can help read it. So just, oh bollocks. I went onto a different screen, but I forgot to make you small. We're going for needs to use an aid. Actually, hang on, that's not a good example, because if someone went through their assessment, I'd expect them to get the minimum points if they've been clear about dyslexia. So let's go for complex. We'll go for this PIP form. Yeah, nice and simple. This is quite a juicy one, what I'm calling a juicy one at the moment. Most of us, which is a bit devastating to be honest, most of us, we don't want to mix with people face to face. I don't. Like I've got a number of clients that are in Stoke-on-Trent, and they're like, I'm 10 minutes away, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to meet face to face. Meeting face to face, for me, meeting face to face with someone, like I'm leaning on my table because it's hard for me to hold my body up. My fatigue is really severe. I'm in pain with my shoulders because I think I've been flicking my hair, right? With my arms, it hurts my shoulders. When I'm face to face with someone, with you, I'm looking at you, right? I'm not really turning my head. I might look at the dog on the odd occasion where I don't see what my mum's doing. She's doing random things. I'm looking at you. When you're mixing with people, you have to turn more. I naturally turn my head when someone talks. My neck pain goes through the roof and I decline rapidly. I decline as the day goes on anyway. I don't want to mix with people face to face. I'm worried about the toilet. I'm worried about the walking distances because my mobility gets much worse as the day goes on. I don't want to do it. So we become isolated, don't we? We stay in. Most of us stay in. That's why pretty much everyone, whether it's depression, anxiety, PTSD, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, back problems, lung problems, whatever it is, most of us score some points in this category. So it's a juicy one. So if you can mix with people and it doesn't bother you, it's absolutely fine, you're relaxed about it, brilliant, obviously no points. So let's say that you did your claim with PIP and they gave you that you need prompting, but actually it's no good you being prompted because you pretty much have a meltdown. You've had meltdowns due to your anxiety. We're going to stick with anxiety, and that has erupted to you throwing things. That would be the 8 points. So you just avoid going out at all. Obviously, if you've got an urgent hospital appointment, you will go to that. But this is daily living, yeah, not once in a blue moon hospital appointments. So don't let them bully you on this. If you're going to be appealing this section, watch the other videos. I do recommend that if you're watching this, watch some of the other videos as well. Everything's got what's called timestamps. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you can see little blocks where it will say like preparing food. Like I have to word it as some sort of question, like preparing food, communicating, reading and understanding. All of my videos have that. So I've designed them specifically so that if, say, for example, you've got issues with going to the toilet, you can go into my claim form video, you can go into the how to win video, you can go into the review video, and you can click on the toilet bit of all of them to get ideas. And as I'm getting more experience, I'm trying to give different ideas all the time. Like my first few will generally be about pain and things like that. And I am hoping this is comprehensive, this is good enough for you. But definitely check out the other videos and just go to the bits that are important for you. That was the whole point. That's why I've done them that way. I think I've said that already. I think my drugs are kicking in now. I'm feeling a bit better. What are we? I'm saying that and I've totally forgotten what we're doing. Does anyone know what we're doing? Or are all of you doing the same as me, looking at the piece of paper and going, no, Charlie, I don't know what you're doing. What are we doing? Engaging with people. So they're giving prompting, but it's overwhelming psychological distress. I forgot. Right. Let me just check the points again. Yeah, and this that is absolutely avoid it. It's not just so. Sometimes people are like, if someone's with me, they can talk to me, reassure me, tell me it's going to be all right. But this is a no. This is a I absolutely don't. I avoid it at all costs. So they won't ask you about the robbery. They should not ask you. They are not trained professionals to, you know, to protect your mental health. You do not have to go into details. They're going to try and downgrade and go, well, if you had someone with you, would you feel better? So we need to preempt that. I'm going to use Fibro as the example here. So say, for example, they give you 4 points, but your reality is actually, let's go for the 10 points. Now, look, I'm crap at numbers, really crap. So I have to do it in buses. I used to work in transport, so it helps me to visualize trucks. Buses, we all know what a bus looks like. 20 buses, 20 meters is 2 buses. You just take a 0 off. 50 meters, cover up the 0, 5 buses. 200 meters, 20 buses. That's your approximate. We're going to say that they said 2 buses to 5 buses. So I'm putting this in to paint a picture again, okay? So I've put in the condition on the worst days. Now they love supermarkets, right? See that most people just don't go to the supermarket because you're too exhausted. Like 99% of the time I go to the supermarket, I'll drive, sit in the car and wait for my mum because they're so big. They're huge. You don't have to just stay in the home. That's not the point of this personal independence payment. We don't have to be trapped in our homes. If we get followed, PIP obviously do follow people. PIP do checks on people. That's good because we want them to catch the fucking people that are fraudulent. We want them to catch the people that make it so difficult for us because they're fucking lying. If you're watching me right now and listening to this, you're not lying. Like, why? Well, obviously you could be, and if you are one of the fraudulent people, get the fuck off my channel because this is for people that are truly chronically ill. And for the haters that are like, you're teaching people how to fraudulently claim. No, I'm not. Yes, people could abuse the system. They were there before me. I'm doing this because I wish videos like this had been available when I first became chronically ill 16 years ago. This is for you. This is for you that is chronically ill. I can't remember why I'm saying this, but I just want you to understand, don't fear PIP. I know we're dependent on the money currently, but there are career options for us that I'm going to do more videos on. And PIP's not means tested, so we could be multi-millionaires and we're still entitled to this funding. And again, if they do follow us and take photos, that's all right. Moving around, mobility, times. Right. PIP are going through a phase where they want it in times. How long does it take you to walk 200 meters? None of us are timing ourselves. No one able-bodied is walking from their front door down the end of the drive and going, oh, that took me 45 seconds. None of us are doing that. Don't let them push you into this. Stand your ground. And I've done this many times where my clients have stood their ground and gone, I do not time myself. I don't know how long it takes me to do that. I can tell you the pain I'm in, or I can, like, my pain feels like this, or my fatigue feels like this. I have to stop and rest. I can do it in bus lengths because we all know what a bus looks like. Don't let them push you into it. Okay. We're on the last one. I'm feeling a bit done in. I hope this all makes sense. I think I'm going to do this that whatever our condition is, they've given us 4 points or 0. Okay. And I'm going to go for unfamiliar journeys. Now, I've got really good examples of this in the mental health video, the main video, or actually even the extracts of mental health planning and following journey. Watch that because I've got really good questions. If you're not sure which category you're in, definitely go and watch that. Yeah, I've just done the mental health video, so I'm going to do this based on pain. Actually, we'll do a mixture. We'll do a pain, stroke, anxiety, because they tend to come together, don't they? Right. So if you're appealing the walking distances, you need to be clear, like, I'm worried about the walking distances. So the way I'm going to word it is just, I'm worried about the walking distances. But if you've put you're limited on the walking distances, make sure you clarify that here as well. Or you could say worried about the walking distances and in brackets refer to moving around. Okay. I know it's quite an extreme example, but I haven't used that yet. So it could be anything. Obviously, it could be arthritis, it could be fibro, it could be obviously whatever your condition is. See, I could link in the mixing with people. I don't know if you can hear me because Ollie's having the time of her life right now. I'm just going to keep going because we're near the end and I'm running out of steam, like about an hour ago. And I want to get this done because I promised someone I'd get this uploaded in 4 days and I've got to edit it as well. Wife. I don't know why. If my partner, there we go. Okay, so you know on this bit where I said they will try and downgrade you. So this is an unfamiliar journey. So they'll try, that is cannot plan the route of a journey is basically can you use Google Maps. And we said that in this appeal they've been given 4 points. So we're trying to get them in the reality of what their life is, which is they won't go anywhere unfamiliar. Matilda, no. So they will try and reduce you to prompting, which we already said they were on, but we've got to counter it. So I've explained about the pain there, about the spinal nerve. So everyone's going to know spinal nerve is bad, right? Very anxious about new places. Do you know what? I might keep it that simple. I'm trying to think if I covered everything. Can you go to unfamiliar place on your own? No. If not, why not? Damage to spinal nerve and anxiety. How do you manage this currently? Go with my partner. And the alternative answer is reducing the points about prompting, but that's what we're appealing. I think we've covered it. So the next bit, how do we end the letter? Okay. Now don't forget, you only appeal the relevant bits. So if you got 9 points and you know you're enhanced, just appeal the relevant bits. Okay. Obviously, you don't need to discuss it if you're not appealing it. I hope I explained that at the beginning. Then I literally have a bit that says summary. I think it's better if they contact via email. Because the phone calls worry me. So I put the email, then yours sincerely and sign it. That's it. Done.